Hey there, how's it going?
Hey, hey, hey.
Welcome. What's the day? Thursday.
Yeah,
Happy Thursday.
happy Thursday or whenever it is that you're watching this.
No doubt, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, well, let's start this thing off. Want to welcome you guys to a God-Ordained Union.
Yes.
This is a singles ministry
Mm-hmm.
to help uh,
Inspire.
guide, inspire, and position singles that are
Yeah.
looking to get married.
Yep. And they wait
Yeah,
on God.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We are Terence and Jill, and we are newlyweds, been married just under 2 years. So we don't give marriage advice.
Nope.
We don't.
Mm-mm. We ain't qualified.
But we are here to share our experiences
Mm-hmm.
and our stories of everything that we've learned, hoping to help.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, we can give single advice.
Yeah,
So
we can.
we come on this channel um from a singles perspective. Well, not from a
Yeah.
singles because we married, from an individual's perspective.
Yes, of what
So
it looks like to be in God's waiting room.
right, yep. Because we like to think that we master being single, because we were single longer in our adult years than we were married.
Mhm.
Yep. So if you are praying and waiting on God for that God ordained mate, like you've been praying, you've been fasting, you've been crying, kicking, screaming, this is definitely the channel you want to hang out on. Please subscribe, please share. Also go to our first 5 videos. We've been doing this is we're going on 3 years
Yeah.
in January, January 2024. So go look at our first 5 videos. You'll hear our story and how Terrence knew that I was the one, how I knew he was the one, all of that, our story, how we
Yes.
met, all that great stuff is like
Mhm.
the first 5 videos.
Yes.
We go live every Tuesday,
Yes.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So turn your notifications. As I said, subscribe to our channel, and please share uh, our
Yes.
videos to all the singles that you
Yes.
know. If you're single, because we believe that God, you know, called us to help you all. All right,
Yes.
so we
Yes. To
want
share our testimony
we sharing. Yep,
because we didn't meet until we were over 50.
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
we've been in God's waiting room for a long
A
time
long
before we
time.
met.
Yeah, my first marriage, Terrence's second marriage, but you were
Yes.
what, divorced for 16 years.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Before
So
you and I met.
yep.
Yes.
So we got a lot to share.
Yes.
So please subscribe. Please subscribe. All right, we're gonna jump in. We got a
Yes.
hot topic tonight. Tonight,
Mm-hmm.
ladies, I got y'all covered. I got y'all covered. We're talking about the 8 things women complain about men when they are dating, and we getting the real from a real man. He going to explain some things. So we got y'all covered. I just want to first say that although these 8 things are what I like to say the pits, I'm gonna get y'all questions. Um, if a guy if a guy and a woman are in a man and a woman are in a relationship and they're dating, and the guy has or does any of these 8 things, does it mean that he's not the one?
No, no. It just means that he don't know.
He
He don't
don't.
know that those things are important to
Okay.
you. As guys, there are certain things that we just wasn't told coming up. So
Mm-hmm.
we are unaware. But there's
Mm-hmm.
also this thing where we know men and women communicate different. They process information different. So,
Okay.
you
Okay.
know,
Okay.
yeah.
All
So all
right.
those things, no, you have to understand that. If you don't, then you
Mm-hmm.
just setting yourself up for more arguments later.
Yes. Okay. All right. So first question. First question. Women want to know. And again, I was single for a long time, and I got a lot of girlfriends, sisters who are single. So I got y'all covered. All right. First question is, women complain about men being too much focused on physical appearance. We don't
Okay.
like that. That's one of our big complaints.
Okay. Here's what I would say to that. You need to be careful of that one.
Okay.
And I say that because of this. If you and I meet and I'm not physically attracted to you, then I'm probably not going to ask you out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, with that being said, regarding your question, that means that he was once attracted to you physically.
Okay.
Then you guys got into a relationship and something changed.
Okay.
Now he doesn't like the physical appearance, or he has an issue with it. Maybe he's somebody that's just been in the weight room his whole life and all he does is go work out and wonder why you're not going with him or whatever it is. But I would say, if you're in a relationship and that's changed, then you need to have a conversation about it.
But it is a possibility that he can get into a relationship with you and not be physically attracted to you.
I don't know. He possibly could, but guys are physical creatures. We are. Whether it's by touch or by sight, we are physical beings. Okay? So usually if a guy come on to you or he approach you, he likes something about you physically, because that's what we have been. Yeah, we're built that way. We're physical beings. So if a guy come on to you, he ain't gonna sit there and say, "Dude, why you come on to that girl?" Oh no, I just went over there and talked to her. No, that ain't how we roll.
Okay. Yeah, and I can say, like, personally, from a woman's point of view, I remember I was years ago in my 30s. I was coming home from work. It was a long day at work, and I was going down the escalator, going into the metro, and it was a couple coming up the escalator. It was a interracial couple, and you could tell they were dating. They were younger, but it was a black guy and a white woman, and he was hugging on the woman, and I was so exhausted and tired, and I guess the look on my face, he thought I was frowning up at him being with a woman that wasn't black. And he looked at me, he said, "Don't be jealous." And I was looked, and I'm like, and what a lot of men don't know is that not all of us, not all of us are upset about a man picking their preference physically. Like, we're not, all women aren't upset about that. Like, I know I'm not. And so I'd rather for the man to go with don't waste my time. If you're not attracted to me in any type of way, don't waste my time. I don't want you to be with me if you're not attracted. And I commend you and applaud you and encourage you to go with who you feel is who you are attracted to. Like, that's your right. And no one should be able to take that away. And if you feel insecure about that, then that's a whole different issue. So yeah. Second complaint.
Okay.
Second complaint that women have while they're dating men is that we sometimes, well, I can't say we, but I guess single women feel that boundaries are ignored, especially like personal space or just like not respecting our privacy or thinking that you have all this access to us, especially, feeling on us and, and a lot of it could be if we say we want to wait to marriage for sex, then, but yeah, not respecting boundaries or ignoring boundaries.
Well, those are conversations got to be had in the beginning.
Okay.
I will say this though, there are opportunities when you just don't know that the person you with have a boundary in a certain place.
Okay.
And so I can see maybe you hitting that boundary or you bumping it, you crossing it the first time. Mm-hmm. But once it's been revealed to you that there is a boundary, it should be respected.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, and he gives you that notion that he's not going to respect any, he's the man, he can do what he want to do, then you need to take that with the grain of salt. Don't sit there and say, well, he said it, but he don't mean it. No, you need to understand if he's sharing with you right now that he's not going to respect your boundaries, mm-hmm. then you need to be aware of how serious that is, mm-hmm. and make a decision for yourself if you want to spend any more time with that guy.
Yeah, and let me just clarify. Boundaries could be anything from not wanting to meet his family yet, or you not wanting to introduce your children to him yet. Yeah. It could be any conversations you say is off limits. It could be politics or anything, any type of boundary you set, whether it's physical,
it could
emotional,
be friendships. It could be him bringing his friends.
Yes,
around.
it could be bringing his ex, or like I don't want to be around your ex, like or I know y'all still in the same, y'all all know each other from for years and years, but that's the boundary, and so
Absolutely.
The third complaint that women have when dating is mixed signals. Like we felt like, or women, I can't keep saying we. Let me get out this single mindset. I'm talking for y'all ladies. Mixed signals is like sometimes we feel like, oh, y'all know what I mean. Sometimes women feel like the guy like them, and then sometimes he don't. Especially in the beginning, and before there's an establishment of a relationship.
Okay. Let me clarify something.
Clarify.
When you first meet a guy and y'all do whatever, go to lunch, go to dinner, whatever it is, there's going to be a point where y'all have this conversation about what it is you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And if a guy says he's just looking to kick it, or just have somebody to hang out with, you need to run if you're looking for a serious relationship. Mm-hmm. Because what a guy means when he say that is exactly what he just said. He's looking to kick it. And what happens is you go with the flow and say, well, you know what? We're going to go slow anyway. So we are just kind of, kicking it in the beginning. But the problem comes when you're ready to take the relationship to the next step, and he's not. Why? Because he told you in the beginning he was just looking for somebody to kick it with. Mm-hmm. He was just looking for somebody to hang out with. And that's when you get your feelings hurt, because you think he's going to grow out of that.
He's going to change.
And he's going to change. And he's not. And here's the bad thing about it. Because you gave him all the cookies, because you gave him everything you have to give while he was in his kicking it, when he decides, man, you know what? I need to find somebody to settle down with. It's very low chances he's going to look at you as being that person.
Because you established
what he wanted with you, and you gave him that in the beginning. So now that he's going to tell himself, you know what? I need to find somebody to be serious with. He's going to look right past you and find somebody else.
Or he can just settle for you. But I'm a true believer that when a man knows who he wants in the beginning, who he's going to marry, he goes in for it. It might take a slow process, but his intention is set from the beginning.
Yeah. So you need to understand when women have a conversation with the man in the beginning and say what your interest is and what you're looking for, you have to be very, very just listen with as much focus as you can on how he describes what it is he wants. Because at the end of the day, he's going to use those same words to you and say, I told you in the beginning, I just wanted to kick it. Why are you trying to make problems now? Mm-hmm. And it might be 2, 3, 4 years later, and you're thinking you've done everything you deserve going to the next level, but he's not wanting to change things because you gave him everything he wanted in the beginning.
Wow. Mm. Yeah. All right, ladies, let me just tell you before I get to number 4, your pressing questions are coming. I'm building up to them. All right, so let's knock this one out the way, because this is a main one that a lot of women complain about. Number 4, inconsistency.
As regards to?
Just one day I hear from you, the next day I don't. One day you act like you want to be with me, the next day you don't. It might be days, weeks, months.
Okay. So men want the freedom. Men have been told their whole life by uncles, older brothers, whomever, even watching movies on TV, men just do what they want to do. So when you are with a man, you have to watch what he does in the very beginning. You remember when you and I first started talking on the phone, I told you, I said, I don't want to start something with you that I can't maintain the whole time we're together, because I don't want you to think that I'm no longer doing the things that I was doing when I was chasing you. So you got to be careful with that. So when you know, especially if this is a guy that's hanging out with a lot of his buddies. You know, if he's still going out to clubs, he's still going out to sports bars, he's still going to places, and he's not taking you, and he's saying, "Oh, me and the guys are going,"
or even going to church.
Oh, he's going to be very inconsistent. He's going to be very inconsistent, because that means there are certain things he's doing that he feels it's okay to take you, and some of those things might not even be important to him. It's just things that he's saying, "Well, I can't get in trouble going here." But then when he's going somewhere where he don't want to be seen with you, or where he wants to keep his freedom to say and do what he wants to do when he's with his boys, guess who ain't going? You ain't invited. So those inconsistencies, and it goes back to, you got to be careful how much you give him access to in the beginning. You give him everything you have to give, then he don't have anything to look forward to.
Okay. So this is one of those, inconsistency is one of those things where if he's inconsistent, it does not mean that he's not the one, because inconsistency consists of a lot of variables.
Yeah.
For instance, with us, when we first started, it was like six months, probably 6 months that we just did phone and text. And because of your work schedule, like I didn't hear from you every single day. Like I didn't hear from you every single day. But your intentions was set from the beginning, the very beginning. We're going to take this slow. I'm interested in you. I want to get to know you. You seem like I want the, well, you know, we know
I told
the
you
story.
that. I said, I want to make sure you know you're not the only one that's emotionally committed.
Yes. So with that being said, the intention was set at the beginning. But there were days sometimes I didn't hear because you were working on a 7.
I was rotating back and forth from days and nights.
Right. And so sometimes you would, it would be, you know, but so consistency, you got to really take that with some understanding, because especially if a man has children, like he may be with his children a lot, or when he gets them and you might not be involved. So, I say watch patterns, but also be considerate of the type of schedule he has. So
the patterns is really huge. That's a good word to use, because we said this in other videos. When a man really is interested in you, he will make time for you.
He will make time.
Those inconsistencies when you first meet, it may change if he finds himself really wanting to be with you. You'll see the difference. I mean, it's different as day and night.
Yeah, and hint, you'll know if how he feels about you around and on the holidays. So yeah, if he ghosts on the holidays, especially Thanksgiving, if he ghosts on Thanksgiving, be careful. All right. The fifth thing we want to know, what we complain about, is communication. Gaps in communication, anything from just lack of communication, difficulty in discussing the status of the relationship, just communicating.
Okay. That is because men grow up talking to other men, and we don't talk about those things with each other. So when we get to the point where we start to date, especially once we get out of high school and we're starting to get to the age where relationships can go into something serious, you have to understand that we don't have practice having those types of conversations. So if you, and most women like to conversate and they like to be in the detail, ask a lot of questions. Well, men with other men, we don't ask questions. You know, it's funny because I was just listening to Sinbad, you know, doing this skit with what happens when men are with other men and then what happens when they're with their woman. And, you know, if we miss a turn in the car, the guy be like, dude, you missed a turn. That's all it said. We just turn around and go back. But if a woman is in the car, oh my gosh, she might decide she want to go home. You know what I mean? It's that big of a deal because she's going to go into it a lot more depth. And the guy's sitting there thinking, all I got to do is turn around. I missed a turn. But it's a lot more in-depth conversation with the woman than it is with other guys. So we have to learn how to communicate to the level that's comfortable for you. You just have to be patient with us and let us know.
Yeah, and I like in that scenario, I think a lot of times, women, we have the conversation already played out in our head. We have things, or by the time it comes out of our mouth, we've already planned the route that we want to go and how many minutes it's going to take to get there, especially if it's something where it's a time sensitive thing, when the mall going to close or bank going to close. We already got it figured out. It's going to take 8 minutes to get here and 3 minutes. So if you miss a turn, that messes up the plan in the head. So yeah, you got to be patient with us too.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a perfect example. This morning, I went to, you remember, I left and I came back.
You talking to me, babe?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was going to put something in your car, right?
Yes.
And when
he was going to the bank,
when I called to tell you that the door was unlocked, I need you to unlock the door. You wanted to ask me a bunch of questions. I'm outside in the cold. All I need you to do is beep, beep, unlock the door. You don't need to ask me no questions, but you want to ask me, is the door unlocked? I already unlocked it. And I walked all the way up 3 flights of steps to come up here to put what I had for you in the house because I didn't want to stay out there having a long conversation about why I couldn't get in the car.
Because the plan was already set.
That's
the plan was set before he went to the bank. He was going to the ATM machine, and because my card that's a whole nother issue. So my card has some security issues, so they got to issue me a new card. So instead of, he was going to the bank to get me cash early this morning, and before he went out, I unlocked my door. So I'm in the shower, and he calls, and I'm like, "Well, is the door not unlocked?" And he was like, "Well, just unlock it." And I'm like, "Well, I'm in the shower."
But see, that was it. See, if that would have been my
brother,
plan,
he didn't go towards the plan. Did not work. That was already in the head.
If that would have been my brother, and he would have called me and said, "Hey, the door isn't unlocked," I would have just grabbed the key fob and said, I would have
too, but I was in the shower.
But you didn't ask me about the shower. You asked me why come the door wasn't unlocked and all these other questions. I'm like, it don't matter why it's unlocked. I can't get in it. So I walked up 3 flights of steps. That way I can cut the conversation. I can do what I had to do. Then I can get back out there in my car and go to work.
Okay. I'm not going to
that's the difference in the communication.
Yes, I'm not going to prolong this, but I do want to make a point about communication. One of the things that we learned in the beginning is learning each other's love language. And that was communicating. We established good communication, believe it or not. We established good communication in the beginning because we understood each other's love language. And so even though some people don't subscribe to, the love language philosophy, but to me, I think is a beautiful framework to practice, because it does.
I think it makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. I mean, not to say that everybody should just be focused on a love language, but I do know if I want to do something for you and I don't want you to know it, but I want you to receive it in a husband to wife way or a romantic way, I know what your love language is. So I have to do something that complements that.
Yes.
And that helps rather than me just being out there trying to figure it out and just,
So if it's your birthday and he don't give you flowers, don't throw the man away. I mean, it's just that's not his love. That might not be his love language. He might send you a happy birthday text, and his love language may be words of affirmation. Yeah. So all right. Real quick. Another complaint we have insensitive behavior. That just means that sometimes we feel like you think we're too emotional. Like, get over it. You don't have to cry about it. Like sometimes women feel like you're not sensitive to our feelings and our perspective, and so.
Well, that might be true. That might be true. Okay. And because men aren't sensitive to a lot of things. So again, especially if the guy that we're talking about is like maybe right out of high school, he's still young in his early 20s. He may have to learn what being sensitive is around a woman, having empathy. He might have to learn how to do that, because you got to remember most young men are with other guys that are rough, that You know, we don't cry around each other. No, look, don't let a man shed some tears around some other guys. Oh my goodness. He gonna hear that until he's 60 years old. You know, so we just don't do those things. So sometimes, well, I'm gonna say this, a lot of times when we are with a woman that we just starting to date, a lot of times we're learning a lot of those things from you all.
Okay.
So rather than beat us up about it, find a way to communicate it to us in a way that we would receive it. And because we, you know, you hear women say sometimes, girl, I ain't got time to train him. Well, you might want to train him depending on how young you is, because he don't know. You know, he just don't.
All right. That brings us to number 7, the number 7 complaint.
Okay.
It's you all not expressing your emotions and your feelings.
Yeah. Look, there are things men just don't do. Expressing our feelings is one of them. When we, again, and I keep going back to men being around other men, because that's who we grew up with, especially me. I was an athlete. So a lot of times when I'm not in my house with my parents and my siblings, I was with other guys hanging out, playing ball. So we're not talking about our feelings. We don't get in the habit. We don't practice it. There's a lot of things men don't talk about with other men. So we just don't know that those things are important when we get around y'all.
Yeah, but it when you don't express those your emotional vulnerabilities, and I do know that, you know, especially being married, sometimes in marriages that's a difficulty that married women face. But I do know that it takes time to open up and to express it. So when you the deeper you get into the relationship, the more you open up, just a little bit, and it does require trust. Because I know I've heard a lot of men say, you know, they don't want to be vulnerable and then it be used against them.
I was going to just say that there is a flip side to it. That especially now, more so than any, because you've seen a lot of stuff on social media lately. But now you got men saying, look, if I share this stuff with her, there's a tendency that it's going to come back and haunt me later. She's gonna publicly humiliate me. She's gonna throw it in my face, make me feel like, you know, I'm this or I'm no good, or I'm not a man because I shared some things. So that's gonna, you might not get a guy to be 100% open with you about all of his feelings until after y'all done got married. And he's learned over time that you're the one that he can trust and he can be vulnerable. And sometimes that still may not happen until you have kids. And he has to explain things to the children, and then he realizes he don't even do those things himself. And then that helps him open up. But yeah, that right there is a huge huge thing for us to overcome.
Right. I know in the beginning, the first thing, it was very important for me to express and explain. And I've kept that promise, is that whatever we discuss is between you and I. It does not go beyond our house. It doesn't go to my sisters. I don't talk about us with my girlfriends. It is, it is private between the two of us. And so we established that in the beginning. And then over time, I've seen your emotions, especially, you've lost a brother and a sister. I've seen your emotion. Of course, we've talked deep about other things that, of course, I can't share. But I think the biggest emotional thing that you've shared is your love for me. And for me, to me, that is huge. When you said you loved me for the first time, when you threw me off guard, like we were in our dating stage, and you said you loved me, and I felt it. And so, yes. So yeah, it just takes time. I believe it takes time. So if he doesn't open up in the beginning, just be patient. And then as you're being patient, establish the trust with him that whatever y'all discuss, not only is between the two of you, but that you ain't going to throw it up in his face when you have a disagreement or argument. So that is big. So.
Because you know how your girlfriends are when y'all share stuff with each other, and then they come over
and they looking at you
and they
funny.
looking at him saying, or they bring something up that he knew he gave to you in confidence. It's like, oh,
never,
ever. You won't ever get any more information.
Ever. No. Our personal conversations are off limits to outside of us. And then the last thing, this is the big one.
Okay.
This is the big complaint that women, and hopefully we can do it in less than 2 minutes, or you can answer it in less than 2 minutes. Women's complaint is that why y'all fear commitment? Or not you, baby, but why men fear commitment?
Well, I will tell you this. It goes back to what we spoke about earlier. When you first set those parameters of what type of relationship you're going to have, you need to pay attention to what he says. If he says he's only looking to kick it, trust me, if you're looking to try to build a foundation of something where you can possibly get married, he ain't the one. He's telling you up front that is not where his mind is. That's not where his heart is. That's not where his focus is. You got to be careful about getting in a relationship with the dude like that. And I don't care how he looks, what he's bringing to the table. You have to be careful, because at the end of the day, you're gonna be left not receiving what you're getting out of it, and being taken advantage of, being not appreciated. And so when it comes to commitment, there's a lot of things that goes through a man's mind. I'm gonna tell you probably the one that you would never think about is if a man thinks you are above his status. When I say that, it's like when he thinking he's dating up. When his guys are telling him, dude, how in the world you meet this one? Where you meet her from? You know she too big, she too good for you. Dude, you ain't never been with a woman like that. When he feels that he's dating up, what he may be telling himself is, I can't marry her until I'm making X amount of money.
Yeah.
I can't do this until I can buy her a house. I can't do this until I can buy her the lifestyle she wants or she deserves. So sometimes it's not because he's afraid. It's because he don't feel like he's worthy until he's able to give you those things that he's assuming all women are going to ask for. As soon as you say, I do, it's like, show me this, show me that. I need a house, and it better be a big house. So sometimes if a man thinks that he's dating up and he wants to marry you, he's out there hustling, trying to figure out how he's going to give you this lifestyle, because he's not going to commit until, because you hear our parents say sometimes, well, you can't afford to get married. You can't afford to have children. You can't afford, you can't afford. So now it's in his head and it's stuck. And he's sitting there thinking, man, I would love to marry her before she leaves me for somebody that's got more than me or this or that, because he might be in fear.
He might be, and that goes back to communication and having difficulties explaining himself. And sometimes he may have explained himself, but you're not listening. You just say, I just want the ring. I just want the ring. I just want it. And because
he also may be thinking too that we've been together for 5 years. I'm not going anywhere. He's thinking I'm showing you that I'm committed because I haven't gone. We've been together for 5 years, but you're thinking, but we haven't gone to the next level.
Right. We're not. Yeah. I don't even know how you feel about me. I don't even know are we exclusive?
Yeah. Because I've worked with guys and heard them say, man, I've been with this woman, the woman that I'm with, forever. And we got kids together. We done bought a house together. We just ain't got married. What's a piece of paper going to do? It ain't going to change nothing. And it's like, dude, women don't think about it like that. They think about it totally different.
Go to the hospital and see who got to make decisions.
Yeah. So it's like,
or who's allowed to make decisions.
So let me fall back on this disclaimer that we said in the very beginning before she started asking me. Just because you have these complaints about a guy you're dating don't mean he's not the one for you. It doesn't mean he's not marriage material. It just means that you have conversations that you need to have.
Yes. And if he's not opening up and communicating with you, either be patient, but don't miss the signs, because it could be a big fat no. He's not the one, and you got to be okay with that. Yeah. So, all right, ladies, if y'all have any other questions, drop them in the comments, and we'll do another video, or Terence will respond in the comments. But this has been enlightening. I hope those complaints will lessen as you be very proactive. You don't have to choose who is everybody that's coming to you. Like, you have some you got some say in this too. Don't just accept anybody. So, but at the same time, just don't throw men away because things aren't going how you think the fairy tale in your head is going. So
absolutely.
So but so that's it. So in closing words.
In closing, I would say with everything that we do, with everything that we're sharing, we have to point everybody back to our source. And our source is Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Yes.
So, for those of you that are out there looking for love, and you say you're looking for love, Jesus is love.
Yep. He's
so
love.
If you truly want it,
you got to go through him.
You need to go through him.
You can get your own version of love, but it's a counterfeit. Promise you. You want his love, and you want
love.
You want his love, and you want his guidance. And he's gonna be your GPS to guide you through this whole phenomenon that is love that you cannot conceive with your own mind.
Yes. So those of you that are looking for love and you haven't accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, we suggest you do. And by doing so, what we're suggesting now is you need to go into your Bible to Romans 10, chapter 10, verses 9 and 10.
Yes.
Okay. And just read that. It's self-explanatory. Just read it.
Let God speak to your heart as you're reading it.
And if there's anybody out there that has already accepted Christ, but know now that you need to recommit
or repent for some things,
then we suggest that you go to Acts chapter 2, verse 38.
Yes. Yep. So we can read the Bible to you here, but it's personal if you do it yourself.
We need you to read it so you can see the words for yourself. And there's no better way to hear the word than you're saying it out loud yourself.
Yes, yourself. So So and if you want us to agree with you in prayer, if you need prayer, go to our website, a God-Ordained Union.com. It's right there. Right there. Right there. A God-Ordained Union.com. Reach out. Our contact form is right there. Also, the 20 prayers that we prayed when we were individuals and looking for love. If you subscribe to our mailing list, we'll give that to you. Absolutely no obligation. Oh, well, your email address. But it's a good way for us to communicate with you. All right. So
that's just 20 of them. It's not all of them. It's just 20 of them.
Because when you're talking about we prayed. So go back to those first five videos and you'll know why the prayers were so extensive. And so so that's it for us. Don't forget to check us out on Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Turn on your live notifications and so that you won't miss us. And that's it for the Smiths.
So we appreciate it. We hope you guys have a blessed remainder of your day.
All right. Deuces.